But what I tell people is, like, I had a mentor one time tell me, you don't always get to pick your passion. Sometimes your passion picks you. Like, I didn't know this was going to be the thing that charged me up. What fires me up is helping people set themselves free. What gets me fired up is when they fire their boss, when they sleep until they're done sleeping, when they can hang out with their kids instead of, pawning the kids off because they live in a world of I have to, not in a world of I choose to.
You're a guy that literally walks the walk. There's a lot of, in the world of entrepreneurship, I think it's become, especially now more than ever, it's become prevalent that we live in this this facade. It's like you go on Instagram or social media, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, and it's like you see just bullshit constantly, right?
Yeah.
It's either information that's been rehashed that people are borrowing from actual entrepreneurs, that have actually done the work, or it's just some foo-foo nonsense that has no, practical application to it. And they're just hoping to get the views, the followers, the this, the that, and whatever. Like you literally walk the walk, and you experience the way that I see through, this bird's eye view, so to speak, like the relationship that you have with your wife, the relationship that you have with your business, how you treat your business, how you live your life, what's important to you. That matters a lot, especially people that are listening and wanting to follow someone, at least because the thing is that we live in a world where there's a copious amount of information, and it's really difficult to, who do I follow? Who do I actually listen to? Like there's more podcasts now than there's ever been. There's more fake, influencers and entrepreneurs and business builders than there ever has been. And there's so much information that you can't really decipher what's from what. So like, I appreciate the information and the walk that you portray and actually live, that for someone like me, that makes a lot of difference. And I think for people that are listening, like if they want to attach at least some sort of belief or follow someone that has done all of the shit, has fucked up in life, has created life. The thing that Joe Rogan said, I really love. He said, he said, one thing I love is a rags to riches story. The more I love than that, which I agree, is a rags to riches, fuck it all up, burn it to the ground, and come back up and rebuild it story. And I resonate with that so much because I've done it, not to the extent and level that you've been successful at, but that is inspiring. It's not inspiring to see someone who comes from money and then, makes money and then is able to keep it. That's great. Like, bravo to you, but that doesn't sit well with me. I didn't come from money. And a majority of people don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what I guess for people that are listening, this is the first time. I don't want to get too in depth, but what made you, like, what was it at your point in your life where, like, dude, I gotta do something?
Yeah. Well,
like, what was that?
Well, it's real easy for me to identify because I was not an entrepreneur. I didn't have ambitions to be an entrepreneur other than, I got wrapped up in this whole drug thing on the wrong side of it. If there is a wrong side, I don't know if there's a right side or a wrong side of the drug thing, but
just depends.
Yeah, when I was young, I thought the right side was like, to capitalize on the drug game, but I didn't get the memo. Don't get high on your own supply. So I ended up on the wrong side with a drug addiction that was out of control at a very early age, heart attack at 17, all that. But for me, entrepreneurship really became the only alternative because after, you get a couple blemishes on your criminal record and you got to check this box and now you're being blocked at the gate. They're shutting doors, even if you pay the price, to society, like they say. It was very clear to me that, I was now a janitor working at General Electric. I'm like, this is some bullshit. But people around me like, man, well, what are you complaining about? At least you got a good job. I'm like, I am miserable. I hate the disrespect. I hate the feeling. But back then, you couldn't fake being an entrepreneur. It was impossible because there was no social media. You couldn't fake it. Like you either had a job or you were the rare person that owned the business. You know what I mean? It was like, I couldn't pretend. So what you're talking about, I see now today. And I even hate is a strong word, but people would call me a motivational speaker. And because I've seen so many people use life coach, motivational speaker, all this to extract money for very little substance from people, I get almost offended by it. Like I say, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm an entrepreneur that speaks. There's a big difference there. but I see it. I see what you see. And I don't know how people decipher, because I've been caught up in it too. I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars dealing with young people that I thought really understood certain things and technology. And it turned out that they were just great at marketing themselves through these platforms. And I got sucked in too. And it cost me fortunes to figure out that there is so much BS out there. And again, so for me, I was thrust into entrepreneurship because I would have been a steel worker just like my dad. But my dad got Flight for Life picked him up from work one day, and that was the end of that deal. And he still, I was 13, 14 year whatever. I was 13 or 14 years old, and he's still suffering today. At 70, from that accident. From way, 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 way back. But that really became clear to me that I probably wasn't going to go into the steel mill. I was off track, of course, high school dropout, all this stuff. I was just way off track as a young person, and there weren't options. And entrepreneurship was only introduced to me because a guy in a drug rehabilitation center said, you're not built for sports, you're not built for this, you're not this and that, but business could be your way out of all this stuff. And at first I was like, hell no, I'm no businessman. I'm never going to wear a tie. I'm never going to be that stiff. But it turned out he was right. I think he was the first guy to give me a personal development book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And
good book.
I was 17, and it was a tough read for me because I didn't really read. It wasn't that I wasn't smart, but I had other things to do. I mean, there was a lot more fun things to do than read. But that changed everything. That was the foundation. That was the seed that was planted that eventually turned into, I don't know, over $1 billion in sales and all this stuff now. The accolades that I receive, which are really weird to me sometimes, because I still feel like, man, I'm going on 53 years old, and I still feel like I haven't made it. But I burned it down, man. Like,
hold on, back up real quick. You're 53, dude.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Well, besides, and we'll get into this, besides your supplement company, anything specific you're doing like for your health, like exercising regularly? Like, how do you eat? Like,
Yeah, I got a wife that's a what do you call it? A drill sergeant, man. Like, yeah, she don't play. Like, I have no choice but to get out of bed and go to the gym, even when I don't want to go, because she's going. She'll go no matter what. We could party all night and get home at 4:00, and she'll be in the gym by 7. Me,
damn,
I got to sleep all day. I got to recover for 3 days. But no, she keeps me on point. And then I'm real heavy on, like, the society is addicted to fat, salts, and sugars. Sugars are killing us. We think it's drugs. We think it's all this stuff. The sugar is destroying our kids. It's destroying their health. Then we got all these artificial sweeteners. So when you see 0 sugars in your Celsius drinks and your Red Bulls, it's even worse, because now you're downing these chemicals, sucralose, hexane, all this stuff. And nobody's talking about it, man. Conventional coffee is filled with fungicides and pesticides, and it's just terrible what we're sipping every single day that is literally destroying us. So I'm big on it, because I almost died again at 40. I almost died. I got many almost died stories, but when I was 40, I almost died. I owned a nightclub and a restaurant, and I was living that life, man. Nonstop work in the club till 4 or 5 in the morning, and I had a lot of stress, but I was heavily drinking, eating a lot of food, because that environment, it's all around you, and it literally was killing me. And I ended up going to a doctor, and traditional medicine failed me, put me on all kinds of pharmaceuticals that were expensive, created all kinds of side effects. So now I'm taking all these pills. I'm like, dang, something's got to be better. And a friend of mine introduced me to a naturopath. I didn't even know what the hell a naturopath was. And they said, well, these are the people that they use, like, I'll give you an example. She put me on watermelon, pumpkin seeds, an herb called saw palmetto, vitamin D, zinc, just stuff that's available, that's readily available, cost me nothing to make those changes. And I'm telling you, within 60 days, my life was completely different. Talked about the stress levels, things like that. And I was working, and she got me working on all this stuff. And I'm telling you, man, today at 50, going on 53, I've got more energy than I've ever had, more stamina. I feel better. It's a different vibe. Plus, I got some money, so I sleep better at night. That does help.
There you go. It does help. Would you say that that's what kind of was that like the kindling for Oh Snap? I'm just curious.
Oh, for sure. That's why I tell people we're more than just a supplement company. This was born out of a mission, and I'm seeing it. I hate what we're doing to our kids, man. If you look at the average, look, we got the highest rate of childhood obesity, childhood diabetes, a lot of this stuff which is preventable, and it all leads to the number one killer of people, heart disease. All these things that like. I just, a matter of fact, if you look at my Instagram right before this, I put on my Instagram on my story. The old school parents used to force us to eat our vegetables. I don't know if your parents forced you to eat vegetables.
Oh yeah.
New school parents wouldn't even put a vegetable on the plate unless it's covered with cheese or it's fried or because they didn't like it. So now they're passing it on to the kids, and now the kids are weaker, they're fatter, testosterone levels are dropping. I mean, it's just we're on a collision course, man. And I do a lot of research on this. So that's how Oh Snap was born, is to bring some, not just supplement. We're more than a supplement company, but bring an active lifestyle to people. Say, look, if I just took supplements, that's great. That's 1/3 of the thing. But we got our community working out together. We just came from a workout we broadcast it all over the world. We stream it on all our platforms, and we provide it for free. I bring in athletes, professional athletes, celebrity trainers, and they give all this game for free to our community. If you ever bought a product from us, you probably get an email saying, "Hey, join us. This athlete or this UFC fighter or this entertainer, this actor is sharing how they're using our products in our community as a productivity hack or to enhance their performance." Matter of fact, my guy, do you know who Flex Alexander is?
Sounds really familiar.
So Flex, he's been on a bunch of TV shows, some movies. Right now, he's in the Broadway production, the live play for New Jack City. New Jack City with Tretch from Naughty by Nature.
I know. Yep, I know.
Yeah, Big Daddy Kane.
Yeah.
So he just sent me 2 videos now. He's saying, "Look, I'm doing 2-3 shows a day, and this is all unsolicited. I don't pay him." He's sending me these videos of him snapping our old snap pack, saying, "This is what's getting me through these long ass days on stage." And so stuff like that, man. That's what I get a charge out of it, man. It's just once you get me started talking, bro, you know what happens, man. I
want you to talk. It's funny. I knew I recognized the name. I used to watch a show when I was a kid, One on One.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so dope. Yeah, that's so cool.
He's a cool guy, man. He came on as a customer. And I did an event way back with him in LA, and I hadn't talked to him for a while. And then all of a sudden he sends me this video about my products. And I was like, like Angela Simmons, from Run DMC. Yeah. She sends me this long message on Instagram how the vegan guru who's opening up all these vegan restaurants introduced her to our products. So that kind of stuff, man, it's cool. Mike Bibby, who played in the NBA for 14 years, man, he's one of our biggest clients. Former Cleveland Browns head coach. It just goes on and on and on. Like the people that are gravitating towards our products. Look, I got an anti-aging product. I've been taking the ingredients in that product for 5 years, so I've only had the company for 2. But that is a game changer because it's working from a chromosome level, from a DNA repair level, which is important today. But anyhow, enough about me, man. What's going on with you?
No, this is all about you, dude. I want to know. Okay, so hold up. So what I a lot of people that want to get into like whether it be like ambassadors or they want to. Yeah. I want to talk about the business side of things. Okay. Here's the thing, dude. So most of my audience is between the age of like 24 to about 36, predominantly male, and they're all interested in entrepreneurship. Yeah. This is your best audience. So I want to know, like, hey, if you're interested, you want to make a little money, or you want to make a lot of money, you want to help people, like, what's the pitch? How can they get part of this, and what's the best avenue, especially if perhaps they're in their younger 20s, they don't have a lot of money to invest. Like, what can they do?
Well, and that was me, bro. Think about it. I got pitched on an opportunity when I was just coming out of jail, Milwaukee County lockdown, and my path was colorful and difficult for me to get employment. And someone introduced me to this idea of repping a brand for a company. And anyway, so it didn't happen real fast. But for us, it's real simple, man. right now for the month of December, for those that happen to catch this in December of 2022.
I'll release it before.
Okay, cool. So if you're catching it before that, you can build we help you build a e-commerce drop shipping supplement company for free.
Oh shit.
Yeah, for free. We do. I mean, we have all. I got automated systems, automated apps that do all the tracking, everything, all at your fingertips. So we're offering in December. We're calling it December to Remember. So anybody that wants to get down with us and learn. So I tell people first you learn. Like me, I had to learn first. I had to learn, and then you earn. But the beauty of it is they're earning while they're learning. So we're paying them. Like my guys, my guys will make my top people will make 6 figures a month passive. If you go back, the last company I built like this was a skincare company, and we had over 600 people making 6 and 7 figure incomes. I had, I don't know, tens of thousands of people making between $1,000 and $3,000 a month, just supplement, because I tell people we build a lifestyle company. Life is what you live, style is how you live. So we help people create a cash flow machine so they can go, their passion might not even be nutrition. It might not be this. But what I tell people is, like, I had a mentor one time tell me, you don't always get to pick your passion. Sometimes your passion picks you. Like, I didn't know this was going to be the thing that charged me up. What fires me up is helping people set themselves free. What gets me fired up is when they fire their boss, when they sleep until they're done sleeping, when they can hang out with their kids instead of, pawning the kids off because they live in a world of I have to, not in a world of I choose to. So that's what I built, man.
That's so important, man.
Yep.
I don't want to blow past that. That is so important. That framework is so important. It changed my life completely. Dude.
Oh
man. My God.
And most people never have it. And people get on this, what a lot of entrepreneurs do without even realizing it is they simply trade one rat race for a new rat race. They're still on the wheel every day, and if they get off the wheel, the whole thing falls apart. Or it's their personality that drives it. What we teach people is how to truly scale. My biggest market was South Korea.
Wow.
My first year in South Korea, we did $100 million. I don't speak Korean, but I built a scalable business. I think like McDonald's. Like, how do I get a distribution point in every single corner all over the world? Well, you got to dumb everything down to its lowest common denominator. There can't be any fancy footwork. It can't be about how great of a salesperson you are, because what good is that going to do if you can't speak Korean? Or if we go into Mexico and you can't speak Spanish? I mean, I don't care how good of a salesperson you are in Chicago. That shit ain't going to work in Seoul, Korea, or Tokyo, Japan, or even in Australia. And so that's what I found is that we put all these systems in place. So we made it push button. Like I'd say I'd rather have a whole bunch of stay-at-home moms or a bunch of young hustlers that just want to make things happen that can push a button on an app and do that aggressively for 4 hours, 5 hours a day, or 15 minutes a day, depending on their schedule, than some powerhouse salesperson who comes in like a bottle rocket. They all kinds of flash and a boom, and then they disappear because they end up frustrated because everything is dependent on their mouth moving. And when that stops, the money stops. Here, what I always had that my rich friends didn't have is I had time freedom. Like, people always were like, how the hell are you on this beach? Or how are you over here? Because I was building my business like that, where, they had to go into an office or they were trapped into a certain structure. And a lot of times they created it. But it was for some of them, it was so big, that was their biggest challenge, is that it was generating millions, but their kids weren't seeing them. They had issues with their spouse because there was an engagement inside the family because it was all in the pursuit of money. So I caught on very early. I had to really take inventory. What do I really want? Do I want the money? Is it just about the money? Do I want the Ferraris? Yeah, I did want all that stuff, and I did get all that stuff. But that really wasn't the main thing for me. What I really wanted when I reverse engineered it, I wanted freedom. I wanted to sleep until I was done sleeping. I wanted to tell my kids on Wednesday we're going to Disney World on Thursday, and not ask a boss, not check with employee, not make sure, everything, it was already done. We just roll. That's how it is. So for me, it was not just financial freedom, it was time freedom. I didn't want to trade one grind for a new grind. I didn't want to trade one rat race for a new rat race. Because I saw it with a lot of people I respected. I'm like, man, it's cool, all that money they got, but when are they going to enjoy it? They're going to have to sell the company or they're going to have to retire. I'm like, I want to live my life now, man, when I got energy and stamina and I'm cool and sexy.
I'm with, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I think that's the biggest differentiators. Like most people, like, you've got like the, uh, what do you call them? Like the Steve Jobs of the world,
Yeah.
right? Where it's just work, and there's for them, it's like the passion maybe is the thing that's propelling them
Yeah.
to move forward. But a lot of us, man, we just, yeah, we like what we do to an extent, or maybe we find something and it's making us a lot of money. But like, dude, I'm with you. Like the end goal isn't to work 16 hours a day for the rest of my life and then, ooh,
Yeah.
great. I'm a multi-millionaire, but I have like less than 5 minutes a day with my children. Like that's terrible
Yeah.
for me. This is not,
Well, I get
and
a
I don't
lot
think
of,
most
on
people.
that note, I get a lot of very successful people in my circle. And a lot of times they let me know how successful they are, like, and I'm always
Yeah.
like, well, congratulations on your success. But two things I'm really interested in is your successors. Who have you helped create to have that type of success without, like all these package pushers, man, I'm so tired of all, and nothing wrong with it. I made my life on buying courses and personal development, but now it's like everybody and their grandmother, the whole industry is just on, let me create a generic course for you. You just market it. And it's all just like you said, it's regurgitated nonsense that came from the early entrepreneurs, and now everyone's packaging it. But also, let me have a conversation with your kid. If you have kids, let me have a conversation with your kids, and then I'll tell you how successful you really are.
Yep.
And that, because that's exactly what someone said to me one time, and I'm like, oh shit, that'll punch you in the
To
gut.
take a step further, John, I think to take a step further, this is something that I had to come to terms with, which was like spending time with your children versus being present with your children.
Ooh,
Like how many hours? Like, okay, you might be around your kids on your phone, on a phone call, answering emails for 4, 5, 6 hours a day, but were you actually present? Like I've spent an hour with my kids being actively present versus an entire day working, but I'm in their vicinity, and that 1 hour overshadowed that 6 hours of me just being in their vicinity. I'm like, oh my god.
bro.
So now I'm trying to be more self-aware and cognizant of the fact that if like, I put my freaking phone down. Like, I don't need to work right now. It's fine. My kids are here. Let's do something. We're going to do this, whatever. Even if it's like, hey, can you play a game with us? Can you play hide and seek? Can you play chess? Or can we go to the park? Or can we go do this? Just simple things. I think a lot of people like, this doesn't have to be a luxurious thing. You don't have to take a private jet and fly to, fucking Tahiti and take your children. Like that's great. But it's like the little things. It's the small little things on a day-to-day basis. The thing that I did the other day that was just magical for me was my daughter was sick. So my other daughter was in her bedroom. And so one of my daughters was with my wife, and the other one just likes to hang out kind of herself in her room. And she's like, can you just lay down with me? She never asks me.
Yeah.
Most of the time she wants to be left alone. And I was just laying on the floor. I was like rolling my back on a foam roller because I've got a bad back. And she comes and lays down with me and just holds my finger for the entire, my kids are 8 years old.
Oh.
Hold my finger the entire time. And later on, she fell asleep on my chest. And it was like, dude, I can't describe to you just how fucking incredible it was to have this like 45-minute to an hour moment that was just her and I don't have to like try to divert my attention because I have more than one child. It was so crazy, man. It's just these little things.
I love that, man. I have 4 daughters, so I think it's more important than ever for men, real men, to be in their lives, because society is after them with all kinds of stuff. And if they don't have a good male example, role model, something in their life, they're going to be taken advantage of. That's just we live in that day and age. I also read recently that the average child gets less than 4 minutes of quality time per day between, if they're even in a 2 household house, which is interesting. 4 minutes. I mean,
that's depressing.
Yeah, it is a little scary. And then we're blaming the next generation again. Well, these kids are all effed up. Well, maybe the parents are the ones that are effed up. Maybe.
Yeah, no, it's our fault.
It really
For
is.
sure.
And then again, like I joke around. We'll go back to the sugar addiction thing. When I was a kid, my dad would get us up for school early because he had to get to the steel mill. but he would give us like Lucky Charms, like and I'm not knocking this because I love a good Lucky Charms, Cocoa Puffs. But the challenge is that was breakfast. That there was no other nutrition besides that. So I'm already hyper. I already got ADD, ADHD,
Yeah.
5 other conditions. Then my dad jacks me up with sugar. He leaves because he got to go to work. I go to school and I'm already going, I'm bouncing off the walls. I can't sit in the classroom. I'm now labeled a loser. I'm a failure only because I'm super high energy to begin with. Now I'm hopped up on even more sugar. Like I'm insane. Like I'm a kid running around like nuts.
I believe you.
It's a different
Oh
world, man.
man.
Anyway, so
It,
I was just thinking of that. But
it is.
hanging out with the girls, with your daughters, man, that's the stuff that now for me, because I'm guilty. I was guilty of it too, man. In the pursuit of money, I was neglecting everything that was important,
Yeah.
because it was always like,
Yeah.
well, the reason I'm doing this is for you, but but they don't even give a shit. My daughters couldn't care less. They would have rather had us stay in the hood and be connected than moving to the big house on the hill and being disconnected. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I think you found a really happy medium.
Yeah.
Really nice happy medium.
Yeah.
Where you're able to find success and be present and get to enjoy experiences. And, you know, like thankfully, like how many men, especially successful men in their 40s and their 50s, that really are focusing on their health? Not a lot, you know, and like they don't, like, you don't realize how much that extends your life. I mean, dude, I watch your videos. Like you've got like the energy of like a 21-year-old. It's insane.
Like, I drive my wife nuts, and my wife is 28. She's like, "Will you just relax, sit down?" And we go out, and I'm the one, I want to stay out. Like she's like, "No, we're going home. It's time to go home. We've danced enough. We've partied enough. We've hung out enough. We're going home." I don't stop, and I don't want to stop. I just feel like when you stop. Comfort is a challenge for me too, because I can get comfortable really quick, and if I get comfortable, I start to lose my edge. So
Yeah.
I try to stay uncomfortable. I operate all the time like there's something else to do. We got to go where something, and I always have FOMO, like fear of missing out. I'm always, when my youngest daughter will be here with me for Christmas, and you know, I'll be the first one. Let's go here. Let's go there. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. I got to drag her out of her room because, you know, these kids like to stay in their rooms and
Oh yeah.
and, you know, Netflix or video games or social media, whatever it is. I'm trying to go to play basketball. I'm trying to go, you know, run around the neighborhood. You know, I bought one of these electric big wheels. Have you seen these grown up big wheels that go like 35 miles an hour?
No.
It's on my Instagram, but I like all that kind of stuff.
I gotta watch it.
So that's the kind of stuff I'll put instead of a Ferrari, get me some crazy mini bikes or some go-karts or something.
Something that you're actually going to enjoy.
Yeah. And the kids can enjoy it. And you know, and when get on a go-kart tomorrow and you will have a smile from the time you get out of the car until you get off. You will nonstop be smiling. You can't help it. It's just something about it, man.
No, yeah. We just recently did that a few months ago, and because my kids are like old enough now, and dude, I just can't turn off like my competitiveness. Like I was challenging my 8-year-olds, dude, like bumping them, trying to get through. One of them started crying. I felt like an idiot. My wife is yelling at me from another car, and I'm just like, I'm gonna win. I don't know what to tell you.
You're a grown up kid too, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
I know I don't have you for very much long, but very much longer. But I did want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
You said that you try to stay uncomfortable, and I don't want to pivot too much from this because this is another big aha moment for me, and I've also known from other successful people that I've spoken with and known over the years. By being uncomfortable, like I had to accept this fact of like, you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. But like, what does that actually mean? What does that mean for you? Like, how do you stay uncomfortable so that you don't stay in one spot and then just stop doing?
Well, number one is I'm doing something for more than money. You know, there's a purpose. Like you said, there's a lot of guys in their like even their 30s, but 40s, 50s. By the time you get into your 40s and your 50s, your waistline is probably double, you know, in some cases what it was when you were 20. You start to see people have like, I call them soy-based bodies, you know, where We're a
Yeah.
lot softer. We're heading towards something that's probably not good, and it's slowing us down. So for me, I have a company that I get excited about getting up in the morning because, yeah, we're going to make a lot of money, and we are. But there's something about this whole thing. There's another life that's going to be changed. There's going to be another batch of emails coming into my customer support, unsolicited, from customers saying, because of you, like Richard Townsend, great example. This dude got involved in our program. He's lost 100 pounds. This is a big dude, good friend of mine. And he said, look, I've done supplement, I've done all these different things, but it's the first time I ever got into an environment where I could be myself. And this dude's down 100 pounds, got another 40 pounds to lose. But it's not just the pounds itself. These are pounds that will stay off because he's part of a healthy lifestyle now. Before he had,
Yep.
look, I can sell you right now. I can sell you a detox deal, which is basically a laxative. You shit it all out, which a lot of these companies do, and you lose weight for sure on it, and you make a great testimonial, but it always bounces back, and it's not addressing inflammation from the inside, all these different things. So we have something that it makes me want to jump out of bed in the morning, want to go do something. And let me put it in perspective. In the company that I sold, the problem with that company, I was kind of over it, but it was spitting off lots of cash, $250,000 a month, whether I rolled over in bed or rolled out of bed. So look, I was getting more and more comfortable. And then I went through a divorce, and now I'm in nightclubs every night. I'm in strip clubs. I'm drinking 4 Manhattans a night. By me getting too comfortable, I started to go into bad habits. Once you start getting comfortable, next thing you know, you're on Netflix every night.
Yeah.
Call of Duty comes back into the picture.
Yep.
Alcohol, smoking too much weed. I mean, all this stuff started to happen to me, and I was slipping. And the challenge is it happens so gradually, man. You don't even realize it. It's a little nudge, And plus, when you have money, you can justify everything. Well, look, all the bills are paid. I got extra coming in. It was easy for me to justify as I was slipping into these bad behaviors. So for me, uncomfortable means I have to have a purpose. And since I'm an entrepreneur, it's in my bloodstream now. I have to have a business that's tied to my purpose, because then I'll get up in the morning. I'll get up early. I'll stay up late. I'll promote the hell. I'll drive you crazy until you buy or die. And that keeps me going. The challenge is there's more people that need to experience what we have. And as long as that's the case, as long as I get up excited about it, that's what does it. And I have a young wife, man. I'm not telling people that they need to get a young wife, but for me, hell, you don't need Viagra if you have a young wife. Number one. Now, this is not for everybody. Don't get mad at me, women. Any women that might be listening to me, but I have excitement. I have reasons and energy, and I have a lot of reasons just to stay young, healthy, and vibrant. I'll just put it that way, and that keeps me uncomfortable because I'm telling you, even today, we did the workout with the team. I could have easily stayed in bed.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
And back, if you go back right after I sold my last company, I would have stayed in bed, no matter what. My wife just yelled, "But I make you." I don't know if you could hear in the background.
I heard her. So would you say like a big proportion? I don't want to say it's the only thing, but do you think? Because I don't know the timeline of like when. Okay, so you got divorced, you went into being comfortable, you started getting into these bad habits, and then like at what point, I guess, did you meet your now wife and you started on this like upward shift that ultimately led to all these things like oh snap and your new outlook on life and whatnot?
Well, it was I met my wife in 2016, my birthday weekend at a nightclub. I was walking in, she was trying to walk out, and I happened to see her when she was coming out. I said, "Oh no, you can't leave." You have to come back. And she's like, "No, my friend, we already been here." I said, "No, bring all your friends. We're going to my table, blah, blah, blah." And we have not been apart since then, but we had a conversation very early on. Before I went out that particular night, I was so sick of myself because for 3 years, because I just came off of the divorce, I came off of selling a company. So for 3 years, I was doing all kinds of things that I was not working on a business. I was spending money on bottles, popping bottles every night, strip, all this stuff. I didn't like myself. So the affirmation I made that night, I said, I'm done with this life. It's my birthday. This is going to be my last hurrah in this lifestyle. And we had that conversation shortly after I left the club. I said, look, just so you know, this isn't my deal anymore. I'm kind of done with this whole scene. I'm getting back into what made me who I was, into what gave me purpose and power and passion. And it was interesting because she was kind of in a similar place, because she had people with colorful backgrounds or made mistakes. At a certain point, you're either going to keep doing that, or you're going to say, like Jim Rohn should say, beware of the man or woman who just had enough, because that's when you're dangerous. When you finally make that decision that I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of being this person. I don't want to live this way anymore. That's when you'll truly do something about it. Most people today are so comfortable because the government gives them money. I mean, we gave them more money to be unemployed than to be employed. People can stay home, and we created comfort at such a mass scale. And now you can see the price that we're paying. I talk to friends that can't get employees to work. It's just, it's a comfort is the killer. When you become comfortable, you start to conform. And when you conform, you do what everyone else is doing. You just part of it. You're not happy, or you're not better off. But, for me, I couldn't conform anymore. And I was conforming to what I thought I wanted, which was cool for like 6 months. Go sell a company and go party for 6 months. Go hang out in Miami. Go travel the world. But then you got to get back. You got to get back on it. Or, I was on a collision course. Anyway, so that's what happened. And so from there, and, both, she was already, she's highly educated, degrees, the whole bit. I'm not. She comes from a really good family. I didn't. So we were complete opposites in so many different areas, not to mention age, race, all that. But we would talk about building a business together, and what she was into and what I wanted to get into, because I knew it would keep me alive longer. And that's kind of how that was the beginnings of the talks about Oh Snap, which we launched about 2 years ago.
I love that story. What a great story.
Thank you. And because she was a certified, personal trainer, she was a model, for lingerie, swimsuits, things like that. She already had, the banging body, all that. And she's one of the most committed people, drive you insane committed, relentless in pursuit of her goals. And I love that, man. I love to be around people like that, because it forces me, someone who can easily let off the accelerator, to say, all right, because I'm competitive like you. I'm like, all right, you ain't going to beat me. You're not going to beat me.
Yo,
you are not going to beat me.
Dude, that's fantastic. That's like one of the best partnerships that you can have.
Man, you have to. And I don't want anyone to be offended, because sometimes people do when I say I got a younger wife, and it keeps me. What happened for me is I was dating some more mature women that were they weren't in the gym a lot. They were kind of past, they kind of hit some of their goals or whatever, and they were kind of complacent. And that wasn't good for me. Complacency is not a good place for John Malott. I do damage to myself and others in that environment.
I mean, if people are offended, like, go tuck your tail between your legs. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm Lebanese, man. So it's in my culture, and from where I'm from, it's very normal to marry a woman 20, 30 years younger than you.
Yeah, bro.
It's a regular occurrence.
Well, when you look at all the spiritual books, man, back in the day, our ancestors, man, there was always a big gap in those things.
Yeah, you know why? This is my stupid take on it. This is because, first of all, I think us as like men, we're boys probably until we're like 40.
But don't get my wife started this, because she always says you're like my son.
It's like, listen, I don't know what to tell you. And then we're like, and then we find someone at 20, 30, years old, you're 40, maybe find a 20-year-old, like, oh, you're actually where I'm at, but I'm a lot older than you. Let's meet up. I don't know. That's just kind of my stupid rationale. Yeah. But I did want to ask, her first name is Najla, right? Yes. That's an Arabic name?
Yeah, it is an Arabic name. Now, yep. It's Najlah. It's
yeah. When I saw it, I was like, "Oh, damn, that's an Arabic name. What up?"
Yeah, awesome. Arabic, and she comes from a great family. Just super, just good people, high integrity, high caliber people, and that's attractive as well, because you gotta have you gotta
absolutely.
have someone that you can trust, and that if you're gonna build something with, Don't do it with someone you can't trust. Cause look, this is my third marriage, so I'm not the best. I'm not like, I shouldn't be a marriage counselor. Maybe I should be, because I can tell you exactly what not to do. But one thing I can tell everybody, especially your audience in that age group and males, marry the right one. You want to fuck up your wealth? Marry the wrong one. You want to cut yourself in half? Marry the wrong one. You want to accelerate your income? You want to accelerate your path, your purpose? Marry the right one. And it's an accelerator when you have, especially because women do, there's a lot of things that they have, and this, I'm not here to give a spiritual talk, but I think we are made different for a reason, and we're made to complete one another. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I think what happens now, we got women want to compete. Now you got guys that want to compete with women, which is the weirdest shit I've ever seen.
Dude, I don't want to get into this conversation because it's going another 2 hours. Yeah. It is the most ludicrous shit. I'm so glad you mentioned it. To see the women compete with men is one thing, but for men to feel like they have to compete with women, like, what happened to your thing between your legs?
It was gone.
Like,
this thing went first. This thing had to go first up here. The top head went first, and
I mean, that's like insecurity to the utmost degree. I've never seen that. I couldn't believe it when I started noticing on social. Then I started noticing like social settings. I'm like, what's happening here?
Yeah, bro. I would be embarrassed to stand on the podium.
Yeah.
Come on now. I mean, it's one thing when you teach. Like my daughters know. Like you said, we're competing, and I'm not letting them win. Because I want them to grow.
No, that's different.
That's a whole different deal. But this
that's silly.
This world is, it's different, man. I'm not one to say, oh, the world's falling apart. I do see a lot of challenges that we've got to fix as a society.
The world is falling apart, John. It's falling apart. Like I mean, if you were able, here's the thing, and maybe it was always falling apart. It's just that we have access now to everything that's going on nonstop 24/7, that we're able to see like clips and bits and bytes of information and videos and things. Maybe, I don't know, but it's disheartening, and it's really scary and sad all at the same time.
Well, it's part of the reason why Najla and I are not having kids anytime soon.
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
I do not.
We've been having these conversations. We think we could bring in an incredible child, but it's the outside forces. When they leave the house and you go into an environment where they're reprogramming, that scares us a little bit. So we're definitely postponing it until further notice.
Well, either way, you guys know best. It is frightening. Like, would I do it all over again now? I'm probably in the same boat that you're in. Yeah. Man, like it's frightening. I have an older daughter too. She's 22 years old. And so like, I thank God that she comes from like that other era, because now she can be the role model for her younger sisters. But it's just like, if I were to have a baby now and the next 10 years, like, what the fuck? Anyways, I'm going to let you go. Last thing. Okay. So if people want to become a brand ambassador, they want to start making some money. I mean, hell, I might just start doing it and just promoting on my podcast.
Yeah, it's simple, bro. Just
make a little extra, whatever.
It's just a link, man. That's why I tell anybody, if you have any type of business, it's like this. At one time, there were gas stations that just sold gas. But somebody said, well, these people, they're going to buy their bread, their milk, their soda, their gum somewhere else. Let's turn gas stations into a spot where they can get gas and get all this other stuff. I tell people all the time, you should have, like, especially when you've got a podcast like this where it's about development, it's about becoming better. Like our philosophy is transforming minds, bodies, and bank accounts. So I tell people all the time, if you're in a service business, you're in something where it connects, I think it makes sense. It's just a link. And if someone buys, you get paid. No big deal. Or someone hits you up and says, I want to make some money. You could get an override on it. I don't know why people wouldn't do that. It's a passive source of income. And especially my big influencers and athletes. I got a bunch of former professional athletes that a lot of these athletes go on to sell insurance and real estate, and they never quite make it to where they were before. So I show them, look, let me show you how to get that type of lifestyle in a business like this, and I'll help you build the damn thing until it gets to that point. That's why like a Mike Bibby, who made $100 million in the NBA, is one of our brand ambassadors. Jonathan Wells just introduced me to the owners of the Houston Texans. We were in their suite snapping our, because I got these snap packs that are liquid. You shake them and snap them, and they're all blown away. We launched a new espresso product. They're like, they want to put them in all the owner suites. I met one of the owners. He just paid $300,000 down payment for his owner suite. The next day, he became a brand ambassador, and it's like, so that's why I tell people it's kind of like, by the way, you're going to be in these circles anyway. You can say, hey, just check out this link, maybe for you, maybe not, no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I've got sponsors that are all over my links, my websites, my podcast stuff. So I'll do the same thing with this, and it's going to be one of the things that I promote. It makes perfect sense and integrates nicely. Anybody that's listening that's interested in doing this is a no-brainer. Yeah. You want to make a little extra money, you want to make a lot of money. I don't see why you wouldn't jump on this, especially now with the promotion that's going on. It's just too dumb to pass.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I've made most of my, if I go back to the majority of my millions, it was right after the real estate collapsed in 2008. And there was so much uncertainty. And you know what I did? I came with certainty and clarity. I said, don't worry, I got you. Let me hold your hand through this. Let me show you how to get through this. Let me show you how to provide economic opportunities to people that right now are worried about economic opportunities. And I feel, I don't think it's going to be like that, but I think there's a reset coming. There's some things happening in the marketplace that remind me of that to a certain extent. And absolutely. I believe we're about to head into a boom time for our business. And people they're thinking more about health and wellness now. And if they get sick or if they get a bad report from the doctor, you know who they call? They call me. That's when they call after something happens. I'm like, look, let's deal with it now instead of later.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I love what you got going on. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. This has been freaking solid.